Joining us is Scott Schober, President and CEO of Berkeley Varitronics Systems. Scott, good to have you back.
Great to be here, thanks.
Scott, let's start off with the earnings, a rise of 45% on revenue. What do you make of today's report?
Well, I think it certainly surprised people. There was a lot of pessimism there, negativity, thoughts there from some of the comments from the chairman, but I think they actually did very well, and we could certainly see a big spike in the stock today, a big rise, and that's certainly telling there. I think too many people focused on maybe some of the comments about a hiring freeze, and that caused a little bit of paranoia, but in reality, I think it's all good things when you look at the overall growth and the continued growth and prospects for the company.
But Scott, when we dig a little deeper into the numbers, they seem impressive on the surface. We've got GMV, gross merchandising value, growing 40% to $97 billion, but that was the lowest rate of growth in at least 11 quarters.
Yeah.
Is this a concern?
Well, it is and isn't, but when you're talking about something so big, they can't maintain that quarter after quarter after quarter. It's just not realistic after all. You got to look at the sheer size, and some of the mergers and acquisitions that they're doing are very strategic because they're really thinking long term, and what's their play is really focusing on the mobile space. Half their business is really mobile transactions, and
that's
important.
And is that such a good idea? Because when you look at mobile revenue, it's harder to get as much play from advertisers on that smaller screen, and yes, they're pushing for mobile, but that in itself tightens sales of advertising.
It does. It hurts your bottom line there, your profitability, but you make a good point. So they got to balance that out, but at the same time, they got to see where are people actually going online. They're not using their desktops anymore. They're on mobile, so they got to attract those mobile users.
Another thing of concern is perhaps has Alibaba reached saturation point? The increase of annual customers who buy at least one product through Alibaba a year was up 5%. And that's the smallest in 3.5 years.
Yeah, that's certainly tightening. So what do they need to do? They look to other areas, maybe other emerging markets. India, huge focus there. The U.S. is not going to be a big focus because they've got the competition with Amazon, which is kind of a different play there. So they got to think strategy. India is a good prospect where they could develop and have a good growth path.
Before we get into Amazon, let's focus on Alibaba's stronghold on China. Now, it is facing a lot of competition from JD.com.
Absolutely. Yeah, excellent point there. And that's a tough one. JD.com is really more parallel with Amazon because they've got similar expenses. They've got very low profit margins. They've got infrastructure. They've got a lot of employees. So they're more parallel with what Amazon is doing there. And that's a tough one there. So it's still going to be competition. That's going to be eroding away at Alibaba. But Alibaba is much more profitable in a direct comparison there.
Now, we spoke about Amazon earlier. Can we even pit Alibaba versus Amazon?
In some ways you can, but in reality, does Amazon know the Chinese customer, the Asian customer? I don't think they know them as well as Alibaba by any means. It would take some time to get up there. Plus, what do we know Amazon for? They're great from cloud infrastructure. They can sell books, they can sell videos, they can sell products very, very well, but they have warehouses. They have a lot of employees, 150,000 plus employees. So there's a lot of expense and it's very, very low margin. So it could be challenging for them to go up against Alibaba.
There is a concern, Scott, that Amazon is that Alibaba rather is biting off more than it can chew. It's got stakes in a soccer club, in entertainment companies, in mobile gaming, and it's launched its cloud services in Silicon Valley, pitting it directly against Microsoft, Google, and Amazon. Is it diluting too much of its focus? Is it taking on too much too soon?
Absolutely, and I think they're trying to feel where are their sweet spots where they could really succeed, and that's a challenge there, but they got to put a lot of feelers out there and see where they're going to be successful, but they will not be successful in all those areas. They can't compete against the likes of Google and Microsoft and others in that cloud space. I just don't think it's viable.
You don't think that Allianz, their cloud service, can compete with Microsoft and Google?
Not at this point in time. With time, perhaps they can, but it's extremely hard right here and now because there's so much investment in that infrastructure now.
Scott, we saw a big shakeup in leadership. Daniel Zhang taking over. What are the implications of this?
Well, I think it was a good move in that standpoint. What are they doing? I forget what they're calling it. I think it's the 1970s, post-1970s. So basically, it's young talent, leadership. They're bringing in, but they're young. And why do they do that? The smart move I have to give them credit for is they understand e-commerce and they understand the mobile space. That's what's important. When people get it, they can take the company to the next level. Not that there's anything wrong with an older generation, but they may not fully appreciate the buying patterns of young buyers. And that's what's really important.
Okay, well, very quickly, are you buying the stock at this level?
Certainly, people are going to be very attracted to buying this stock, especially at this price point being low. It's above the IPO price, but it's got a lot of headroom. It's probably going to be up there significantly in the months to come. So you'll see a lot of people buying it, I think, and it'll probably shoot it up.
Okay, thank you so much. Scott Schober, President and CEO of Berkeley Varitronics Systems.